I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is for the minutes. Have you read the minutes?
I did. I read them online.
Okay. And I have, and I would be looking for a motion to accept the minutes.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of, what's the date for that?
I guess I can second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. We'd like to do a follow-up. We had a real good presentation from the superintendent and the coordinator of, let's see, he was a coordinator of vocational program from Bay Path. And I just asked Deborah if she would read from the minutes in case someone missed that on TV or wasn't here last time. It was a good presentation and some good news, I think.
So John LaFleche, Superintendent of Bay Path, was our guest speaker, along with Mr. Montville, Bay Path's vocational coordinator. They gave us an overview of their vocational program. They have approval of a new animal science program for a veterinary assistant. A teaching hospital will be located in the area. The facility will be renovated by Bay Path students. At this time, they're looking for properties. Selectman Paul Joseph suggested the old Smart Plaza in Dudley. Bay Path also has a building and property and maintenance group of students. Our immediate concern is if students could work with local farmers. This is an option according to Mr. LaFleche. Students need to be guaranteed 30 hours a week of work at minimum wage. The employer must have workman's comp insurance. It is also a possibility that the student could work for several farmers in the same work week. Selectman Paul Joseph suggested trying to get a donor who would be willing to provide the workman's comp insurance. John LaFleche recommended that we send him a packet detailing what's needed from the cooperating farmers. The hiring process takes 2 to 3 weeks. Our goal is to get help for local farmers and spark an interest in agriculture in young people who may be interested in becoming farmers themselves.
Thank you. Yeah, so our interest was to get interest back into the schools, some more about agriculture in Dudley. And this was a great surprise to me that they already have a veterinary assistant program approved. And I think it was starting this spring, coming spring.
This coming spring.
So it was a real good presentation. We really appreciate it. And I just wanted to make sure anyone didn't hear it can hear it again now on TV or here. And we also, so that takes care of that. We want to follow up on the other guest we had was Jennifer Canoyer, our chairman of the Board of Health, gave a real good presentation of things that were necessary for farm days, that things we might need to be doing to get permits. And I don't know, I picked up here till 7 on Thursday, so it's kind of nice. I get to visit with them before the meeting. I have a application for residential kitchens, and they're right outside the office. You can get it even though they're closed. And then a temporary food permit, which is going to be necessary for some of us. So if you don't cut your vegetables and serve them, and you're just selling vegetables, you do not need a temporary food permit. But if you start, if you give them a grape tomato that'll pop in their mouth, that wasn't an issue, she didn't think. But if you're actually cutting up and for samples, and then anyone that does any kind of preparation would need to get a temporary. And they were very nice. They waived the fee for this year. It's a $50 fee otherwise. So I asked, well, what about next year? I happened to mention that today earlier when I was down during the afternoon. And they said, well, if they petition us to waive it again. But it could be hard. Somebody could come with some things to sell from their farm and might not make $50. So that was the main reason Paul Joseph was helping us to push for not having it this first year at least, you know?
Can I just ask a question?
Yep.
If a person was just given samples, would they need the?
If they're slicing it, yeah.
Yeah, just to give away samples, you would need a temporary permit?
You know, she did say there's a gray area there maybe, you know.
Okay, just.
Depending on how much preparation actually being done.
Right.
If you got platters of sliced up veggies all out there, you know, you probably should get a permit.
Okay.
It doesn't cost anything.
Oh,
It didn't take me, I mean, it's several pages, but most of it was NA, you know, because it's not a established restaurant, and, you know, they talk about all kinds of trash facilities and everything. It's mostly NA. Didn't take me long to fill it out and get it signed.
it was just to satisfy my curiosity.
And like I say, no fee this year. Anything else on the Board of Health presentation last time? Okay.
I guess my thing that I got out of it was that because we're a right to farm community, and I think there's gonna need to be some changes to the bylaws to fit the right to farm, because, you know, you got people in town that, you know, chickens was an example, and, you know, they're giving these people a hard time where they really shouldn't be.
Right, so the problem is the less than 5 acres.
Right,
So, and that's through zoning, so I think that's what we really need to address. We need to try to get that changed.
Yeah, I talked to someone the other day, they have 4 acres.
Yeah.
So they're in that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you can do a lot of farming on 4 acres.
absolutely, I
right.
agree with you
And of
100%.
course, don't forget, some of the regulations that came into play had to do with the zoning board. Matter of fact, there's already a resident, did they have the public hearing yet? There was one resident having a public hearing on chickens and roosters. I don't know what the date was, it's not on the top of my
I
head.
don't
You know,
know.
you could do a lot of farming on 1 acre, you know?
That's right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And to be a right to farm town, we would prefer it as easy as possible to farm. And also picked up, outside the Board of Health office, they have a list of their fees for different permits and what permits you need. So I think it's good if we as a Ag Commission know these figures, so somebody comes and looks at a house for sale with 4 acres, or how many acres do you have, Lynette?
1.75 right now.
Okay, and you do a lot in those 1.75 acres, I know you do. But if they're looking at a place for sale or something, then hopefully they could come to the commission to get some information. So we need to keep building that information and have a website where they could find it easy. Anything else on the Board of Health? And maybe I went too fast on any questions on the Bay Path presentation last time?
I thought the presentation was excellent, and I agree with a lot of the things that were said. But I just like to, you know, if you look at people that do specific things, you know, a lot of things, people can learn things just on YouTube, you know, and become a farmer. You know, just take like the guy that's gonna start the mushroom thing out in Charlton there, next to the Masonic home. You know, he wouldn't learn that in school. You know, this is something he picked up on, probably on his own, through doing research on the internet and through YouTube. So, you know, there's also those kind of people that you need to kind of cultivate also.
And that was something I brought up at the Board of Health meeting, because I went up and I'm really concerned that there, as the Ag Commission and as a farmer, I want to encourage people to move into town who are interested in agriculture. You know, there's a big, you know, back to the way it was movement, homesteading, and, you know, people are really interested in that. And I feel like the Board of Health and Zoning are discouraging people from doing that. We want to encourage them and help them. So that's what I brought up.
Maybe we, as a commission, could offer classes, or I'm just thinking, I was when we lived in Virginia, I was the co-founder of an Urban Homesteaders League. And we offered, if I knew how to can, I taught people how to can. And it was very unofficial, but I learned a lot. And maybe that's something that we could do.
That's a good idea. I mean, you're talking actually having a class available for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I taught a dehydrating class at the library, and I had like 40 people attend.
Or beekeeping.
Right. Although people do that much better than I could. But just tapping the talent that we have as a commission, I'm sure we could cover a lot of bases for the homesteaders and the people in town who
It'd be good
don't
for
consider themselves farmers but are interested in certain aspects of it.
It'd be good for future farm days.
Exactly.
Right.
Increased activity.
And like in the springtime, we could have like a little class on how to start seedlings.
Yeah.
Start seeds, start your own plants. Find somebody that could do that.
The Gray would just love to have something like that.
Because we all have a lot of experience, different things.
If I could just jump in.
Yeah.
John
We
Breyer.
welcome John here with
It's
us.
good to see you again.
Back.
I missed you guys.
We missed you.
But Deborah, exactly what you were saying. I was, it's almost impossible not to get caught up in these chicken wars that are out there right now. It's like, what side of the issue you're on? And, even if you try to explain to folks what the zoning is today, which is, right, 5+ acres, it doesn't matter to them, right? Because, again, 1.5 acres, 2 acres, yeah, it's doable, but that's not what the bylaw says, and that's what the zoning says.
Right.
And so we go back to the whole establishment of the Ag Commission itself. I was kind of surprised, and I don't know, I've been kind of out of it, but did the Board of Selectmen or the Board of Health or the Planning Board reach out to the Ag Commission in any way for any input?
No.
See?
And we mentioned that we would like that to happen,
Right.
and we're
And they
available.
should be doing that.
However, we have to realize we're young and just starting, and maybe
But
people didn't know about us. I don't know.
it doesn't matter, right? So you can't choose this to agree with one part of the bylaw, which is the 5 acres, and ignore the other part of the bylaw that says any agricultural issues must be brought up before the Ag Commission. That's in the bylaw.
Oh.
And you are supposed to be the advisory council to the Board of Selectmen and
What-
other boards when it comes to agricultural
Was
issues.
that in the original one?
Yes, right now, again, it might have been tweaked a little, but I'm almost positive it still says that these other boards are supposed to rely upon the Ag Commission
Okay.
for any agricultural issues.
Right,
But-
that's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
But Victor and I did go, and we made ourselves heard anyway, so
Yeah.
it still worked out.
And so what's good about the chicken wars is it's an issue that needs to be addressed. And with your expertise, right, it really should be your recommendation. What is the magic number as far as land goes? And how many chickens can you, for instance, if someone does have an acre of land and, can they have 1,000 chickens or is it 15 chickens, Or, I don't know.
Well, it's been good because I found out, I've met a lot of families that actually have breeding roosters that go to fairs,
Yeah,
and they want to keep showing them, they don't want to eat them.
yeah.
So,
And then how do you make sure that the bylaw is written in such a way so, yeah, you have chickens, but you don't have ostriches or pigs or cows? The example I used today is, if you don't have anything, if you allow chickens, where does it end? Are you going to have cows on people's porches? Are you going to have cows like they do being declared service animals on airplanes?
Right, so it's got to be within reason. So the
Exactly.
language has to be in there so that it's reasonable
Exactly.
and it's adjustable.
And so I think there is a tremendous opportunity with the planning board and with the Board of Health, and to remind the Board of Selectmen that really it's your commission that should have the hearings and the input and come back with a firm recommendation to them. And then they can have their hearings on it. But it is maybe because you're young, but,
yeah, that's what we want to do.
yeah.
It's really top of our agenda is to encourage agriculture and Dudley. And to do that is to help with these kind of regulations, obviously.
Yeah.
And hopefully in the future, they will come to us. But the meetings have been good. The public hearing was good. And the meeting the other night, they had a lot of people had chance to talk, and it wasn't so much a war, a chicken war. It was more like trying to understand from both sides. And I got the feeling that there was understanding from both sides coming, so
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
And I'm sure in the end, you know, the perfect compromise is going to be made, and people are going to be able to have chickens in a reasonable fashion.
So,
Hope so.
Roosters.
we've been discussing the presentation of BayPath and the presentation of the Board of Health. And if there's any other discussion, otherwise we'll move on the agenda. And next on the agenda is goals. Were there any other comments, questions? Goals and logo discussion. Where are we? I
Well-
don't really know.
I haven't had a chance to get to the
Okay.
printer yet to price out for the big banner. I started a new job, so it's
Yeah?
kind of like juggling all kinds of things all at one time. So I have made a Facebook page. It's called Dudley AgCom. And I just put it out there quickly to get something up for the Ag Days. And also, you can add on if you want, anybody on the committee. If you want to post something out there, you can. I also put in the Board of Health regulations because of Ag Day for the ones that were sent out. So anybody can see that for the vendors. And I put a couple little cute things on there too, like the stop for farm equipment type of deal. And, you know, so I figured that would be a starting point with the AgCom. I haven't made the changes yet to the letterhead, so that I have to change the bottom part, the address and stuff, so. Other than that, pretty much got it, I think.
Okay. Any comments?
And also, if you have a Facebook page, I can friend you, so you're all on it, and then you can forward it out to people too.
Yeah, and I'll show, you friended me already, so
Yeah.
I'll show Noah too, and he can get on there.
Yep,
And you can actually, you should be able to copy a link and
Yeah.
actually send it to someone not on Facebook,
Yeah.
to the email.
Mhm.
Because my daughter's off her email for certain reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, off of Facebook, she don't do it. But I send a link which he can look
Mhm.
at.
and then that way you can forward the link, and like when we start doing more stuff, we can start posting more stuff on it. It's just a simple Facebook page, nothing elaborate, nothing fancy. So that's pretty much where we are with that.
Okay. Next on the agenda, how about right to farm signs?
I went down into the graphic arts place down on Tinsley Square there, and I spoke with the gentleman, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet for about, to give me a rough idea
On price?
on price and stuff.
Okay.
So as soon as he gets back to me,
Okay, we'll put that on the agenda for next time. MDAR updates. I'm trying to think who usually, is that Paul usually?
Sophia Paul usually
Yeah.
would say something.
So, I'm not gonna be much help on that unless somebody else has something.
No?
I don't know if this came from, my wife was telling me just before I left, I didn't really have time to go and look at it, but there was I'm not sure if MDR is going to do it, but there's going to be a class on the hemp, getting certified to do hemp and all that kind of stuff, so I guess the state is reaching out to people to educate them as to how to do it correctly, I guess.
Is it a free class
I believe so.
for people? Oh, nice.
Have you seen the press with GN and Dreamcatcher Farm here in Dudley? GN's really almost becoming a point person for the state. you know, and for a lot of the
Now, they're
different hemp
gonna open
farmers
it-
out there.
Nice.
They're gonna open on Main Street.
They had their grand opening last Saturday.
They did open already.
Yep, Main Street and Webster.
Okay.
They've been interviewed by the press and TV stations, and he's really talking about, you know, the difference between marijuana and hemp, and also taking the lead in working with the state for some of the issues with the CBD
That's great.
and the health issues. And I guess their crop was a bumper crop, and it blew away all their expectations, and
Now, didn't they get a surprise and it was shut down for a while? Or?
Yeah,
Well-
what happened there?
Well, my understanding was when when the FDA or whatever came down on the ingestible CBD.
Yeah, the
that-
processing
yeah.
of it for the,
Yeah, so,
Has that turned around, or are they
well,
still?
my understanding with CBD is that the topical stuff and things along those lines, the stuff that can't be ingested is okay
Okay.
to sell.
Okay.
And they can't make any health claims. And
Because they had originally been approved to do both.
Yep, and then the US government came down and they came up with some reg, and then they ended up, Massachusetts followed the feds on that. And so I think what you're seeing now is all the different hemp farmers forming a coalition, creating a strong trade association so that they can better educate. Because, you know, there's definitely, it's like the vaping, right? I mean, when you had that statewide ban go, that covered even the regulated, scientifically tested stuff that was safe, was included in that ban. And so, right, and so the issue is, and I agreed with one of the Cannabis Commission officials, is if you do a complete ban on that, you're forcing them back into that bootleg market where the state has no regulations and controls. And so, you know, I think with hemp, as it matures, you know, as this trade association grows, and they can better educate lawmakers and community members, and, I mean, because they trace this stuff from the seed all the way to the end crop. So it's interesting, but to see, you know, Gian and, you know, a local Dudley farmer here, you know, because, I mean, they were going into the great unknown when they bought that little farm, and to see them have such a successful year, and, I mean, it's good for Dudley, it's good for the farming, and
yeah,
and it's
Absolutely.
hemp, you know,
absolutely.
so I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We'll have to stop in, seeing as how they're up and running.
Wonder if they're coming to Dudley Farm Days.
Don't know.
I did talk to him once, and I thought he said they were.
Yeah, I thought they were one
Paul
of the
said
vendors.
Paul said he was one of the vendors.
Yeah,
good.
yeah, he did, yeah.
Okay. That's great.
So, next item is Dudley Farm Days. Coming up.
Very
Momentarily.
soon.
It's
So-
not supposed to rain.
No,
Is the
That's
weather
right.
supposed to be
It's
good?
getting over with
It'll be
now.
chilly. It's fall.
It's gonna be a
Right,
perfect
fall's
day
okay.
for what we're gonna be doing.
It is, yeah.
Yep. So, we had some real good planning meetings. And I guess I would ask first, what's needed for the youth activities? Because we have pumpkin painting.
Yep, I bought all the pumpkins yesterday, so I've got the pumpkins, and I've got all kinds of stickers and poster paints and pipe cleaners and glue and googly eyes and stickers for the kids to put on them, so,
Are you gonna need some help?
if anybody wants to help me, because I
Well-
may be doing the pumpkin carving,
Okay.
because my friend's husband hasn't gotten back to me yet,
Oh, okay.
even though he said he would do it.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
may be doing
We could put it
carving, and
that
I
too.
may be watching the
You do it
kids
with her?
put together all this. What I will need is probably some folding chairs. I don't know if,
Okay, we're able
Because
to
kids-
use tables from the
We
church.
have a lot of folding chairs in
Oh, in
the
the Grange.
Grange too.
Okay.
And I highly doubt we're gonna, because we have picnic tables and everything.
yeah.
So the folding chairs, they'll probably
I mean,
be
even if we
plenty
have
of
just
them.
like a couple of them for the kids to sit on next to the
No,
table, so
there'll
they
be plenty
can
of that.
Right.
do their
Absolutely,
painting
no
and
problem.
gluing, and the only thing I didn't get was glitter. I refused to get glitter.
I'm with you on that, no glitter.
No glitter.
Even outdoors?
Even outdoors, I don't want to be picking glitter
Yeah,
out of
no, that's-
everything.
What's even worse is that it just gets in everything, you know?
It
it's all
does.
supplies.
And it
And
never
especially
goes
if it's
away.
windy,
Yeah. I don't want
Yeah.
You'll
glitter.
have glitter on your apple crisp.
Yes.
I might be able to have one of my grandsons come help you. He's
Okay.
real artist and good at that. And
I bet
Good.
Noel will help too.
Good.
yeah, good.
So, yes, he's a
Yeah,
good
so
artist too.
whoever wants
so-
to pitch in can help me with the kids.
Great.
Just so you know, all these things that they're buying, we have no budget, so we were going to put, are you charging a certain amount
Well, that's
or
what I was gonna-
donation?
That's what I was gonna say. How do we wanna do this? Do we wanna do donations? Do we wanna charge? Because then you'd factor in the cost of the pumpkin and some of the stuff.
Well, I would think for the, and,
Or just-
okay, and that now, the fairy gardens,
Those guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So.
you're going to charge a
Yeah,
certain
we
amount.
have to, we have to.
So I
charge
would
the
say
fairy
you would
gardens.
do the
I would
same.
charge, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that I will say something about having people donate things, you know, for our future reference and things. I was running the activities at the Grange, and the year that I took donations for all the face painting and the games was the year that we made more money on activities than ever. And I'm just saying that, but with the fairy gardens, I mean, really, the money invested, you have to, you know, people
able to
probably
recoup
don't, they
it.
don't realize how much those cost to make, the
Right.
soil and all the different things. They're really not
Right.
cheap. And so that is one thing. But I mean, as far as the pumpkins, I mean, you might be able to get away with doing donations on those.
We can try it.
So
I'm
do
trying
you-
to
do
think
you
if
wanna-
one is more legal than the other.
Well, I
don't
think
know.
I said before, my sister, they've done bake sales, you know, and just donations
And they do
only,
donations,
and they do
really
way
well,
better.
right?
Yeah,
People
which
pay
just amazes
more
me. But
when they have it,
Yeah.
and then the people that don't have so much, you know, if they have 4 children or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Not only that, you
it
don't
gives
have to
them a
worry about
break.
making change.
Right,
If you-
that's
Oh,
true
you know.
too, because they just give, yeah, that's right too, you know?
maybe that's why
So-
they bake more, because
There's-
I only have a
it
10.
has
Okay,
its,
we'll take it.
5 here.
But I do like giving that to people, that be, you know, for most things, if you can let them donate, it's really helpful, I
We
think,
can
to the
try it.
families that can't and the families that can.
What do you think?
I'm not, for the fairy gardens, I'm not sure.
Well, how about if we
Yeah,
charge
I
for
think the fairy gardens, we
Yeah,
should
and then
charge.
the
Yeah, I
pumpkins.
think we're gonna have to
Donate
do
for the
fairy
pumpkins and see
gardens.
how
I
it
think
works.
that we have to.
Yeah,
Um,
because they
You have
cost
too
quite
much
a bit.
investment.
But if we get, with all the donations and all the money that comes in from the fairy gardens and all of that, we can look at everybody's receipts and try and disperse the money back to the people that put in.
Get
And then,
10 cents on your dollar?
yeah, and then, well,
Pretty
whatever,
much.
you know, maybe not. I
No,
mean,
hopefully not.
maybe not. Maybe, and then maybe we might have an excess amount that we'll be able to, you know, put to
Seed
the
money.
next fund. And that's
That'd be great.
supposed to be the plan,
Right.
so.
What's a fairy garden?
Come make
You're
one,
gonna
John.
come make one?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going with my grandson, so,
Oh,
but
great.
I don't know what
Oh,
a fairy
you-
garden
It's
is.
like
So
a
it's
build your own
basically a dish
garden?
garden, it's basically a dish garden with
Yeah.
a plant or two and like a little garden fairy or for boys,
Okay.
boys
Or
might want to use like
dinosaurs
dinosaurs
or
Okay.
something like
and little
this, yeah.
decorations. It's for the kids to have fun.
All right,
And then they get to take their own creation home with them.
Right.
all right.
And it's, you know, the plant's alive and they can water it
The
and,
first
Yeah.
start at gardening.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right. Yeah,
Exactly.
we're trying to inspire young farmers,
Yeah.
so this is where they can
and
start.
then maybe we can like expand it sometime and maybe we'll do like a workshop, a fairy garden workshop sometime in the future at the Grange or something.
Yeah.
And people can come and really do the real deals, you know, the bigger ones and have a choice of all sizes and such, so.
So do we have
Do we have everything we need?
a list that we can do right
Maybe we
now?
can talk after to make sure we
Okay.
have everything.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now, I have one 8-foot table. I'm thinking that should be enough.
For
Banquet
pumpkins?
table for the pumpkins and the pumpkin carving, so I'm thinking that should be
Were
enough.
we gonna be able to get some tables from the church? Who was gonna ask about that?
Actually, you know what? Was I supposed to ask about that, or did Karen ask? I'll double check on that. My apologies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because we were thinking even if someone comes and doesn't bring their own table for selling, if we could borrow some.
Right.
Plus, we'll need a couple
Right.
tables for the fairy
Yeah,
garden.
the
Yeah.
church does usually have, like, what we don't have, they usually do have that
Yeah.
excess for us.
Okay.
Let me double check on that.
And tomorrow, I think it's gonna rain early, but not in the afternoon, so tomorrow, later afternoon, I'll be there with Deborah's husband, setting up the hay maze for the young
Oh,
kids.
okay, great.
Gonna be for young kids, won't be huge and they won't be high.
So you're doing it tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah.
Will you need any help?
You know, I mean, if
Because
you,
we're gonna be on, I'm not gonna be around myself, but I'm thinking if we come in the later part of the day, if that's when you're doing it.
Absolutely, yeah.
What time are you gonna go? I might be able to come up and give you a hand for a while.
yeah, I mean, Dickie
just give me
Easterbrook's
time.
gonna come help and,
Yeah, do you
but
tell
you're
them?
welcome to come. I'm gonna bring a big wagon, 120 bales or so.
No,
Wow.
give me a
Do
time.
you know what time you're gonna
to
get
be there.
started?
Let's say, I was gonna let Dick know, let's say like 3 o'clock.
Oh,
Okay.
that probably
Because-
sounds good.
I don't wanna do it in the rain, obviously.
Right.
The only hay I have available, all my first cutting is buried in the barn with second cutting. So I'm putting nice second cutting hay out. I don't wanna get it wet.
So speaking of which, when you do put this together, do you wanna have some type of a tarp to cover it, or do you feel
Oh, no, you
confident
wouldn't
that
be
it'll
able
be
to.
okay?
No, if it gets
All
wet,
right.
my cows will eat it anyway, so.
Okay,
So I haven't bush hogged there yet. I'm gonna do that
Okay.
tomorrow morning. I just haven't gotten to it.
okay, no, totally understandable.
But there's an area behind the Grange that hasn't been mowed. I guess it's actually the church property, which we asked if we could use. And then the hayride will probably be loading there also. So, and then just plan to go down, around and back and across the front or whatever's going on and
Yeah.
back, that's all. And it's gonna be, I'll put a little hay on the floor. It's actually, the wagon I'm using is one they use at the fair, also down Woodstock and different places. It belongs to the Classic Tractor
Really?
Club or something.
Oh, nice.
And so there's seats, you know, to sit
Yeah.
on. And there's a fold-out stairs, because my problem with doing a regular hayride, older people would
That's right. They
climbing
wanna
on
ride it,
bales
they'd
to
have a
get
hard
up.
time.
But these
Right.
will be nice stairs, and so older people should be able to get on and go for a ride too, so.
That's excellent. Sounds good.
What else? So, some things, yes.
What time, two questions. What time would you like people there Saturday morning to set up? And is there some sort of a map where if somebody says, where do I go?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, so time-wise, we're requested to keep the same time, 10 to 2, as the other activity. So that's what I put for them to put on the message board and everything. You know, if you're there at 9, I'm sorry, almost every activity you have there, early birds, right, for yard sales or whatever.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're there at 9 and you got a pumpkin out for sale and somebody I want to buy that pumpkin, you can sell it, I'm sure. Nobody's going to say that. So,
Yeah.
but we figure we're going to be pretty much ready around 9 or so.
Okay.
So however much time you need to set up. Are you all set with taking care of the seed swap?
Yes, so I ordered a pop-up from Amazon that was supposed to be here tomorrow. It's not
What kind
getting.
of pop-up?
Like
A tent.
A tent, you know.
I have one you could use
I
if
have
it
one
don't
too.
come.
All right, that would be great because delivery problems, it's not getting here till Monday. So, but I really, my other thing was, do I really need one? Because it's not going to be rainy and it's not going to be sunny. So I don't even know
Oh,
if
I thought it was gonna be sunny.
It'll be
but, yeah.
sunny.
But not like
Well,
hot,
we're
gross,
gonna-
you know,
No, it's
hot
gonna be
shade.
cold.
And we
Low
do,
60s,
we're gonna
so-
be in a shaded area, by the way, too, so.
That has changed a little bit also.
Oh, it has?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know
So,
about that.
they worked very hard. Paul Joseph called me a couple of weeks back or a week ago. And they worked very hard in consolidating the Sturbridge Village area.
Yeah,
So we have the common, everything on the south side of the monument. And if you go look, it's a pretty big area.
it is a big area.
Yeah. So we'll still have the children's activities over behind the Grange.
Yeah,
The hay maze, the
Yeah.
pumpkins and all that. But we'll
But you're
be
gonna
able
flip
to
with the
sell
flowers.
over on the main common.
Okay,
So, you know,
Alright.
originally, that was gonna be all taken up, so we were gonna use some of the church and
Yeah.
the Grange area.
yeah,
But you're kinda off in the back there, you know?
right,
So this will be great, and we appreciate the work they did consolidating
yeah,
and leaving that for us,
very good.
so.
I'm glad they were able to duke it out without hurting each other.
What is the actual time for the Grange, the Apple Festival? What is it?
10 to 2.
Yeah, we're doing it, same.
Same thing
We
as
tray and
this?
stay with the, with
Isn't
the
it
Black
like noon
I
time
thought
Tavern
or something?
Dudley,
time.
it's this- so Dudley Farm Days and the Grange Apple Festival is the same time, that 10
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
to try to
I
make
guess
it all work together, we kind of came in now, on
Yeah.
something that happens every year, so.
I think the vendors are up and running by 9 though, really. I really do think most of them are.
And if there's a line still to buy somebody's veggies, I'm sure they're not gonna say,
Yeah,
no more sales.
yeah, we're gonna go there between probably 8 and 9, so.
Because originally we had said 2 or later, however it works,
Mhm.
We thought we'd keep it all together, all 3 activities.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, as it breaks down, everybody can kind of make their decision at the end too,
So I do have a pop-up tent that I was gonna use, but I don't think I'll need it,
Well,
because it's
if-
not gonna be hot, so.
I have an extra, I'll throw it in.
All right.
So we'll have
And I
fun.
have one too, so
Okay.
we'll make sure that we have plenty of tents.
You don't have one.
I was gonna.
So we're gonna, is Lynette's idea to have the seed swap, where you can bring seeds and swap, or you can make a donation and take seeds. What are we missing?
The vendors, so do we have confirmation on who the vendors are? Do we
Well,
know
I
that?
don't have confirmation, it'll be who gets there, I guess.
Okay.
Can you guys remind me what they said about the permits?
Yes, I have a lot of
'Cause I don't have
information
my
on that.
notes.
Oh,
I,
good.
I picked up some,
If we already have a retail permit in Dudley, do we need one?
Yes.
We still need a
yeah.
1 day.
Yeah.
Murray Laura's gonna balk.
no
at that.
charge, but,
No charge?
And
No charge,
basically-
yeah, no
Yeah,
charge.
no charge.
no, the
They
Board of
agreed.
Health
We just have to
waived
go.
the
They
fee
agreed.
for the first year.
Oh, for everybody?
Yes. Because it was Paul Joseph's idea to try to encourage farmers to come. If you sell $50 worth of veggies and you pay for a $50 permit, you didn't make any money.
Right.
Should have stayed home. So that was very great that they passed that at their last meeting.
Okay, so we
Uh,
still have to get the permit, though?
Yeah,
Yeah, you still have to
and-
get the permit.
Even
You
though we
know,
already have a
it was
retail
all
permit,
NA
retail food permit.
Most of mine was all NA, because you just, one
Right.
day there selling, not at a business or anything. And I picked up some extra permits, and, but that's what I was told, yeah, you still need it.
Because it's for that one-day event.
Because it's a different
So-
area.
Then maybe we can try and bring this topic up during the year and see if we can kind of resolve some of that.
Well, she just,
So-
because that's what I was under the impression, that we needed a permit, a 1 day permit.
Yeah.
And she said, but I already have a retail food permit in Dudley. I said, me too. But,
And just so you know, I was talking with them, we should keep, you and I and anyone that has a refrigeration, keep a 1-hour log on the temperatures.
okay.
I was speaking to, just this afternoon, I was talking with the health inspector, so. But that was the only thing we had to do. Everything the way you do it and Sturbridge saying that was fine.
Okay. I got new
So we'll
smokers,
see,
my coolers.
how many are able to come. Farming is what farming is, and there could be some that plan to come, aren't gonna come. There could be some that we didn't know about would come, but all Dudley farmers are welcome.
The only thing is if they need a permit to sell, and they can't just show up that day.
But the vegetables, you don't, and unless we were talking earlier, unless you're slicing it and selling it that way,
Right, then you need to be served
And
safely.
of course,
have
if
permit.
you're selling pies from your apples in your orchard, then you gotta have your kitchen permit too, obviously, before that. And you also, I was told just this evening that it's kinda nice, the Board of Health is open till 7 on Thursdays when we
Can
have our
just
meetings.
stop in.
So you come early and you can get some information. You have to have liability insurance. But the liability insurance I have there isn't good for here, I found out on my policy.
Does the town need a rider? See, I can't remember any of this.
Supposedly, that's a state law that vendors at farmers markets and stuff need to carry liability. So just check on that and see, because one of the requirements on the permit is to fax a copy from your insurance company to the Board of Health. And I thought that was just gonna happen, and it didn't. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen with me yet. I'm trying to get a price on what it would be, a temporary one-day one, you know?
They won't cover you?
The policy I have, they
Just
say I
name
don't,
the,
so.
name the town?
I'm not sure if when we shut our store down, if I canceled it. I don't remember canceling it. I always thought I had it, but I
Yeah.
need to sit down with my insurance agent. But just so you know, that was one of the things that's required by the state, actually, so. So, that would only be if you're doing this food permit, not if you have vegetables or something like that. Okay? That's what I was told by the Board of Health. Anything else on Dudley Farm Days? I'm looking forward to it.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Do we know if Tim's gonna be able to come? Has anybody heard?
Tim, have you heard if Tim's gonna come?
I thought he said last time
He-
he was.
He's supposed to.
He said
He was
he
at
was
a
gonna,
meeting, last meeting or 2 meetings ago, he said he was coming.
Yeah, he did say he was going to.
Yep. Public input, we have a friend, John back, and he has some information that he sent. Did you get emails from him?
Mm-hmm.
Linda, your email always bounces on me
Why?
for some reason. And I gotta make sure I have your right email address. I'll pass these around just so people have an idea what I'm talking about. First, it's been a couple of months. You guys have done an amazing job. I mean, your meetings regularly there, your Dudley Farm Days. I mean, it's really nice to see it coming together there. And the more you meet, you know, the more you guys are coming into your own. So it's quite encouraging. And you know, you look at the regulations, like for the one day to. I mean, it's almost impossible to do business in this country in many aspects. But this is a great topic, right, for next year. Is maybe in the meantime you come up with a nice streamlined application with the Board of Health, so that next year, you know, it's a nice one-page thing someone fills out, and Board of Health has got everything they need. And but without the Ag Commission, there would be no one even advocating for those changes. So, you know, I think what you guys are doing are great. What I stepped down as chair of the Economic Development Committee, and one of the reasons why is, you know, sometimes your hands are very limited in what you can do when you're actually serving on a government board, because you've got state ethics, and you've got this, you've got that, and, you know, you just can't
Politics.
move very quickly. And there's politics, exactly. And so, you know, if you do this, well, why didn't you do this? You got to go out to a public bid process for this or public solicitation. So many times it's just a lot easier to shed those shackles, become a private citizen again, and try to make things happen that way. One of the things, going back to our first meeting, which was about a year ago, was cold in that Grange hole. There's so many obstacles and challenges that the farmers in Dudley face, and the agricultural activities that people do are very diverse from farm to farm, whether it's honey or flowers or hay or livestock. But in the end, the one thing that was very common for everybody is it's tough to make money in agriculture. It's tough, and it's a lot of work. And as technology's changed, you know, the skills that make someone a very successful farmer often make them very bad at technology or websites and keeping the new world informed of what's going on. And as I've talked to people, I mean, Bill had things about, you know, he had so much land and he was looking for partners maybe to do some stuff on his land, and you know, you had other farmers looking to modernize their websites. And so I went out and I just kind of played around, and I'm about 85% there right now. And so I went out and we've got the domain name, dudleyfarmers.com. All right? And what the goal of that is once it's up and running, I'd really like to give the website and the whole enterprise away, but I don't want to, I was thinking, do I give it to the Ag Commission or the Grange? If I give it to the Ag Commission, you're going to be subject to those same shackles being a government agency. So I think when we're done and we have this thing up and running, that what we do is we give it to the Grange, because they're a private organization, and they may be able to make revenue on this by selling ads or other features down the road as well. All right, and so what the basic concept is, first, no cost to any of our farmers. I'm doing this just as a friend. The farmers can pick and choose what they want to do. So we'll sit down with, say, Farm Ag and say, okay, let's look at your setup. How much land do you have? How much is pasture? How much is wooded? What's the structures that you have? You know, what are the revenue opportunities that are available to you? And so some of those might be simply producing, say, honey and selling it, or selling meat, or modernizing how you sell over the internet. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, you got, the Pappas family and Park and Shop, great, always invest in the community. If we have enough farmers that really want to sell product online, well, we'll work with Chuck and get a section of the store for like a Dudley farm section.
Wow.
But he's got to be assured of constant inventory and things like that, so that people can either buy online, go to your place and pick it up, or they can just go over to Park and Shop and pick it up off the shelf there. All right, and I'll help facilitate that. So the idea is to sit down with each farm and say, okay, what do you have the resources to do now, and what do you want to do 5 or 10 years from now? And so some of the revenue opportunities, of course, is selling your goods, right? Not only to locally, but do you want to do national? I mean, do the Kepkes want to take on Omaha Steaks? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, come on, Chris.
Expert advice. There's so much knowledge with all of our farmers here. You can actually be hired by others to give advice. And so what the idea there is, let's create a nice bio on the farmers, say where your areas of expertise are, and if you want to be part of this section, go $150 an hour, $200 an hour. You'll help, whether it's a corporation looking for farming, or a local farmer, or someone like the Renucci's that were just wanting to start out. What the goal there is to take those that need expert advice and hook them up with our Dudley farmers, and they can select. They'll see the bios, and then they'll click, and then they'll send you like a private message, and then you get a rate per hour on that. Airbnb rentals. Dudley doesn't have many Airbnb rentals, but one of the most popular and lucrative Airbnb opportunities that are out there are people that rent rooms in farmhouses, or cottages on farmland. And so let's look at some of those outbuildings that you may have, or your primary residence, and say, is this an opportunity? And if it is, and it requires some updating, well, let's see if there's some grant money available for you to do that. And you're not talking $50 a night. I mean, a lot of these Airbnb places get $150, $200 a night.
That's right. That's what we want to do with our place, actually, in Dudley.
Yeah.
We want to turn it into an Airbnb, and we have, we're on the river, so we wanted to offer canoeing.
Oh my
Pick
gosh,
up
home
stuff,
run.
the river to bring you back, and,
And and it's not like you have to rent it out every day. There are some that do it very seasonally. The leaf peeper season right now, in the summertime, there are many people in the cities that want their kids to get their hands dirty and work on a farm, for a week, to show them how privileged they might be. And so there's a tremendous opportunity with Airbnb rentals. Now, if you don't think it's for your farm, you don't have to do an Airbnb. But I want that available on that website as well. Then we have the farm listings, right? Let's list all the farms, what products they specialize in, and if you have a website, we'll link it directly to your website. And if you're too small and you don't have one, what we'll do is we'll actually build a little website, a little home page that you can go in and log and maintain yourself right on the Dudley Farmers website. All right, and again, no charge for that. Venues for rent, the Grange,
yeah.
right? If you have an old barn, If you have a big lawn, in some corporation, you got IPG down the road, you got corporations moving in the area. Sometimes they like to just do a big outdoor picnic and
Bring a big
and
tent.
cornhole,
Yeah.
stick a tent in there and do something.
Yeah.
And so, if they don't know that it's available, how are they going to rent it for
We
you?
could have a Woodstock.
Exactly. So we do venues for rent. Some have expressed interest in doing weddings. So again, if you have a big barn and you've modernized it, well, let's partner with some, I don't know, whether it's firesides or 88s or some of the other local restaurants or caterers, and let's see if they can put together a wedding package. Weddings are $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. And so if you can, Woodstock does a tremendous business, some of those farms, with some of those weddings.
They do.
And they're just great. They got a great feel, and they've partnered with the caterers. So again, it may require capital investment, so let's see what monies are available from the state. And I'll help you guys apply for those grants. The big one was the farmland for lease or sale. And that's, right now, I just went in to, I just grabbed a listing off of one of the real estate sites. It looks like there's 66 acres on Dresser Hill Road. That was an old farm. And so I have that on the website now, just as kind of a holder to see what the look would, be like. But on this section, if someone is looking to rent land, lease land, or actually buy a farm, that would be the section for that. And it'll have all your property information. Now, it doesn't replace a realtor if you have one. It'll just simply be another avenue. And the way it'll be designed is so that as Google and those search engines and their algorithms kind of go through the site, if someone's looking for prime vineyard property, we'd have those properties show up in the keywords in the search results. And so if it's an operation in Long Island that's run out of land and they're looking to go in there, it'll be what kind of soil type you have. I've learned, I didn't know what there was Charlton, and I don't even know some of the names, but I learned a little bit about soils, but you know what soils you have and what crops are good for that, and so that's the kind of information that would be on that. And what the goal there would be, the state actually came out with a tool to help farmers negotiate and price out lease agreements. And so you go there and you punch in all the parameters, and it would actually, the state generates like this lease agreement for you and the potential person to lease the land. And then the state also put up a site that tries to link people looking for farms with farmers. And so we'll tie that into that section as well. And so this is very much a rough. And I figure it's going to be a winter project when it's snow and it's 20 below zero and it's icy outside. We can sit down.
It's not going to be 20 below.
But what we'll do is we'll sit down and we'll go through it. And so what I'll do is I'll send out an email to everyone who's on the original distribution list. I'll just say, if you're interested, reach out to me, and we'll just make it happen over time. And it'll continue to evolve. I learned a long time ago, right? Never fall in love with your own plan. So just because the site looks the way it is today doesn't mean the fact that you have a Facebook page that Linda set up, we can put a nice little thing there, on the side that will update that. And we can even tie in the site. There is a section for the posts where it says latest news and updates, so that whatever she puts on Facebook or whatever you put on here will update the other one automatically. So we can do that as well.
That's great.
All right?
That sounds fantastic.
So I just wanted to kind of get your blessing, let you know what I'm doing, and
Yeah, don't stop.
Yeah, we like what you're doing. We like what you're
You got it.
doing.
That sounds great.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
all right, you're welcome.
Thank you,
This
thank
is
you.
good stuff.
It really
Thank you.
is.
Thank you very much, very
I mean,
good.
this is exactly what we need, honestly. It's just,
Just a centralized place
Yeah.
for everything.
yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking with the Facebook page.
Yeah.
If you want to post anything out there, you're more than welcome to. I just figured I'd set something up.
And that's
So-
perfect, because you'll get more people that will post to Facebook, and if we can feed those Facebook posts right to the website, it's a
Yeah.
win-win for everybody.
That would be great.
Yeah. So I'll be reaching out to you first,
Okay.
once I get your correct email address.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you so much.
A lot of work for donated work.
Wow.
Any
That's a lot.
other new business? So I guess we'll see you all at Farm Days on Saturday. And hopefully
And our
Well-
next meeting is going to be
will be the first Thursday in
November.
November.
I might
Anyone have it out?
not.
I don't.
I
It's the
might
7th.
not be able to do that, the 7th, okay. Just so you all know, I mean, I'm sure you can carry on without me, but I don't think I'm going to make that one.
Okay. What was the date?
The 7th,
The
November
7th
7th.
The 7th.
of November will be our next meeting.
Yeah, I think not.
If
so.
there's no other business, I'll motion.
Oh, I'd like to make one quick announcement.
Okay.
It's a little off subject, but we're having a gong bath at the Grange on October 13th at 5 o'clock. So, a gong bath is when a gong master comes with her gongs and her flutes and her sounds and bells and, you know, all the really cool stuff that sounds really good. It's very soothing. She sets everything up, and everybody lays on a lawn chair. They bring the pillow, blanket, and teddy bear if they want to. And you just kind of go off and do La La Land while she plays all these beautiful instruments for you. And she does it for an hour and a half. And when it's over, you feel really, really great. It feels just, it's like a reset. And so we are doing it, we're doing it at 5 because it's an hour and a half, and we figured it would be done by 6:30, and therefore, you know, people could still get home and relax for the evening and that sort of thing.
It'll be dark by
So,
then.
yeah, and it'll be dark by then, because, that's right. So I have flyers if anybody wants to
Yeah,
take.
I'll take one.
And we are gonna serve refreshments. So those will be there too. I have a lot of things going on between Maine and Dudley. So probably more in Maine in a way, but I've got some other ones here too. So yeah.
We could send this out to our land trust mailing list if you want us to do that.
Yeah, you could do that. That would be great. Do I have, okay, here's the other one.
Do you have that online, Jennifer? Because I
I
can
don't-
put that on Facebook, too.
You want to put that on
As- if-
Facebook?
Yeah, if you have
Okay.
it as a PDF.
Yeah, you could do that for me.
Or
That would be
JPEG.
great.
Yeah, just send that over to me.
Should send it
and I'll
over to you?
pop
Sure, that
out
would be
there.
super. And yeah, and if anybody of you can make it, I'm sure that when you go to this, it'll be, if you've never gone to anything like this before, it'll be quite an experience for you, and you will enjoy it. And so I'd like to kind of start trying to bring some more of these things to Dudley as well, you know, to that Grange, and try and bring these things forth. So now I think you can end the meeting if nobody has any comments.
So this is $20 per person?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else? Otherwise, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All
Second.
those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.